Welcome to Crypto Tutors. We are humanizing cryptocurrency and blockchain and are bringing the best trailblazers and success stories like Isaiah Jackson, Tanya Evans, Ian Bellina, Cleve Messidor, and Tinashe Nitaganga on the Crypto Couch. Click subscribe and the bell to be the first to watch the latest interviews every single week.
What, as far as like buying Bitcoin, do you have any preference? And granted, we want to caveat this with, we and the folks that we have on the Crypto Couch are not advisors. This isn't financial advice. This is education. We want to make sure that you walk away with actionable insights that if you choose, you can apply to set yourself up for, wealth building opportunities. But Justin, is there, are there platforms that you found to be easy to start, investing in Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin? What are your thoughts on that?
One of the easiest ways for folks to buy Bitcoin, I think we're all friends with them, Cashapp. Cashapp is the easiest way to buy Bitcoin.
Shout out to Cashapp.
Shout out to Cashapp for everything they've done for the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. I know you guys linked up with them here, so shout out to Cashapp, Jack Dorsey, everybody else. But Cashapp is very easy because most people have Cashapp. So we're just talking about just the level of ease. We'll just say Cashapp.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, we, Justin, have an e-learning course called Make Money While You Sleep. And, the first step in the process is to buy Bitcoin. And we have found that across all of the exchanges, Cashapp is definitely the easiest, most streamlined way of purchasing Bitcoin. So, yeah, I do see what you're saying with that.
Cashapp gives you the opportunity to buy. The moment you buy Bitcoin, you have financial freedom. The moment you buy it, you have access to the greatest investment in the world. The moment you buy it, you have access to decentralization, to the best tech known to man. And we might need to really highlight this for Cashapp. Cashapp is giving you the opportunity to simplify buying Bitcoin. And that is very, very valuable. It's so valuable that the way I even explain it will go over your head. Because before then, it was so hard. You had to go find someone else. You had to go meet somebody at a coffee shop, go to a Bitcoin ATM. So it's been times I remember I had to send somebody PayPal to then get the money on a PayPal gift card to turn it into cash so I can go buy Bitcoin at Bitcoin ATM. It got real bad. It was real wild.
And Justin, in the book, you actually talk, this is kind of a cool story. In the book, you talk about like having to work with Bitcoin ATMs. And like at this time I think there was only like a couple across at least the country here in the US. So, you've been someone who has like really bootstrapped Bitcoin, right? Like before the infrastructure was laid and we got to the point where it was as seamless as it is now, you were someone that was like having to create your own wallet and you've done so much to try to navigate. So.
Right. To the contributions of people like me, Zay, Lamar, my man Miller L, y'all, we made Bitcoin easier to buy for people. Even if we didn't create the infrastructure, we put out the information on how to get it, very simple. So people who are buying Bitcoin now, as simple as they are, they have to thank, folks like us because, it was hell back in the day. Like you'll have to drive. I'll have to drive here to drive here and then, pull out the cash and it got kind of wild. So, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. So now buying Bitcoin is like, I have Cashapp. I buy $10 worth of Bitcoin every day.
Yep.
On Cashapp. So it's definitely something to
stacking sats.
Yes, man. You got to stack the sats. If you're not, you're not doing it correctly.
So Justin, what do you see for the future of Bitcoin? What do you see for your future in relation to what you want to do in the space?
So for me, I look at continuously, educating the way I do, bringing in more people, whether that's, through Black Bitcoin Billionaires or, my own business.
Justin, hold on, because they may not know the Black Bitcoin Billionaires have the largest Clubhouse community. I think that it's now over 100,000.
Yes, the largest Bitcoin group, and we're at 114,000 people in just 6 months. So if you're on Clubhouse, search and pull up to Black Bitcoin Billionaires, and just providing, next level education.
And let's amplify the work that you're doing, because, one of the things about this country, which I think is also too why there's such a, there's such an organic, desire to be involved in crypto, is that there have been so many inherently racist practices that have excluded the Black community from wealth building, excluded the Black community from, elevating ourselves. And when we think about even, the disproportionate rates of Black and brown people that are incarcerated, the implications of being incarcerated, like, your voting rights can be impacted by that or to be eliminated, which means that you don't have the ability to vote for, legislatures and governors and those involved in the political apparatus that could help support your community. Like, the fact of the matter is that there is none of the biases that we see. And as a result of that, to your point around the greatest wealth building opportunity and vehicle, like, that's exactly what we're talking about here. So I just needed to call that out to the people, talk about.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, because that's why I feel Bitcoin is an easier decision, because, like, I think it was one time I was realizing I was doing a lot of hard work. I was working like crazy. And I was just like, damn, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I feel like I'm about to die if I crash this car. And then, something happened where I had to spend all my money. And it's like, yo, I'm not really keeping no money. And when I realized I wasn't keeping money, when I realized I wasn't keeping money, that's another thing that's like, I need to give Bitcoin a longer view, because, I can speak about Bitcoin from many areas, but for folks who like going through the part of, man, I don't never know what to do with my money. It's always getting away from me. I mean, yeah, it does deal with a lot of responsible or non-responsible spending habits that have to get clear. But, in the beginning, it's still about buying Bitcoin. Like, especially from those levels. Like, I looked at how when I came home from prison, I compared it to other countries like Venezuela, as we see, some of those smaller countries who just said, we hopping all the way into Bitcoin.
Well, let's talk about that, though, because, you touched upon a couple of aspects of, like, economics, right? Like, the fiat currency, US dollar, is an inflationary asset, which means that it's depreciating in value, versus Bitcoin, which is a deflationary asset, which means that it's appreciating in value. When you talk about, economies like that of Venezuela, for example, the issue is that the Venezuelans, that is, have experienced hyperinflation. The reason why we're using that as an example is because here in the United States, we haven't really experienced hyperinflation at that level. And so there isn't as much of an urgency behind an alternative asset class as a result. However, the truth is, when you look at the stimulus plan, for example, trillions of nearly $2 trillion, I believe, have been released as a result of the pandemic. And like, we're not creating more value. That means we're just printing more money. So again, when it comes to the rationale behind why, especially at the institutional level, you're starting to see more investments from, Mass Mutual, who put $100 million in. MicroStrategy has almost over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in their balance sheets. You're starting to see, a tremendous uptick on account of the hedge, the hedge against the dollar. Bitcoin is a deflationary asset versus, the dollar, for instance, that's an inflationary asset. We just want to put that out there, Justin, so people can kind of wrap their heads around, what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, because the inflation is real. I remember one time Zay has said that inflation around this time, or around this year, would be somewhere between 12 to 15% as a traditional 1 to 2. So Yeah, because you can't just print trillions of dollars that's made upon nothing and expect prices to stay the same. So it's going to only make sense to continuously just buy Bitcoin. And I say that because even with that gas shortage, every time I see a shortage, I don't see nothing more than like a pullback, and then here comes the influx of the price. You know, the price jumping up, or it's like, you know, why is everything so low? Because hell, you better buy the dip, or otherwise, like I feel the prices of things, you know, are really about to skyrocket because of that. I mean, when I was in Miami, I saw gas for $4.65. I'm like, God damn! Then you see gas for 3 something. So, you know, there's small indicators, and I know sometimes you have people who are professionals out there that say, well, you shouldn't determine inflation based upon, you know, smaller units, but why the hell shouldn't you? Because it's all, see, this is the thing. They all run on the same money. That's why I learned with Bitcoin. Every investment out there runs on the same currency, and the same currency is what is getting inflated the hell out of.
What are some final thoughts that you want to share with the Crypto Tutors community so that they are set up for success in relation to getting into the space, and perhaps some best practices that will help them continue to navigate the space successfully?
Number one, when it comes to Bitcoin, when you hear people say, hey, I'm taking my profit, you might as well just take them out of your people to listen to. Because really, like I said before, you have to really start noticing the difference between wealth building language and a trader language. Like the billionaires aren't really selling much of anything that's valuable. Like they haven't made all their billions trading. They made it, you know, considered it holding or whatever. But yeah, that's not really the way you build wealth. So people who are going around, and it could be some of your colleagues, but you know, if you work in corporate America, this is like the normal talk. Hey, well, you know, I sold. But what did you sell into? You know, you sold right back into the same situation, the same position. So if you are here around folks who say they took their profits out of Bitcoin, I mean, they could be your friends, but I wouldn't talk to them no more about Bitcoin, because their advice will start sending you in a different direction. Like we buy the dip here. We don't really sell the dip. So if you see a dip, buy the dip. And just, you know, look to be around people who, you know what they're talking about. Reach out to people, you know what I mean? And always remember, you know, the fact that the times that we're in are changing. You know, things are in the middle of a change. You're in the middle of seeing a whole financial system be laid out in front of your eyes, and really there's not much that can stop it. So, you know, and always study disruption and innovation. You know, that's probably one of the best things you could do nowadays. Study disruption, study innovation, and really, really understand why Bitcoin is number one. You know, understand it. And if you need to, again, you know, we all have resources, but you got to understand what it is you're doing from people who know what the hell they're doing.
And, you know, what are some ways to determine if someone knows what they're doing versus not? Because I feel like there's a lot of like gurus out here that are talking the talk, making it seem like they're really about that life and they know, you know, how to maneuver, when in fact they're just, you know, regurgitating what they've heard from other people, and they themselves haven't really cultivated the you know, knowledge and wisdom required to really succeed, but they're professing to be subject matter experts. So what are some of the, you know, things, red flags that we should be aware of? And how do you delineate between like who's real and who's not?
Well, sometimes it depends upon like how much time a person puts into said project. Like, you know, if you're all over the place with investments, I'm not saying you can't have a lot of them, but if you're all over the place putting out this, you're doing Bitcoin, you're doing crypto, you're doing stocks, you're doing real estate, you're doing life insurance, you don't have enough time. That person doesn't have enough time to focus. So number one, you want to deal with someone who's like really made, you know, Bitcoin or crypto their life, you know, not the funniest billionaire. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Michael Saylor and Elon Musk are still newbies and they act like them. So you want to deal with someone whose time has really been dedicated towards Bitcoin and crypto. Then you want to start noticing like, all right, how's their language different? You know, are they talking the same language? Because you could be in Bitcoin and crypto, but you talk like someone who trades Forex. You know what I'm saying? It really deals with the language, because you want to deal with people who can set you up for the best success. And that doesn't always mean the person with the most money in the room. You know, then you can follow, you know, their social media, look for their consistency, you know, and what they're saying. Like if you go to my Instagram, Bitcoin Vegan, you can go from the very post I posted this morning all the way down the bottom. It's been Bitcoin for years, on top of years. Yep. And stay away from your 1 year gurus who like, oh, well, you know, I've been in the crypto space for a year. I've been trading this, that, and the third. And it's like, yeah, it's easy to do that when you're in a bull market for the past 2 years. So, I mean, it's a lot of different things, but it all comes down with language. It comes down to, you know, consistency and reputation, you know, and kind of like in Bitcoin, who has the longest proof of work to show, you know, and just always, you know, follow credible people. Just come to the Black Bitcoin Billionaires. Just come to Black Bitcoin Billionaires. I don't even know why we're making this hard.
Join Clubhouse.
Just come to Black Bitcoin Billionaires.
Join the Clubhouse, join the conversation. Justin, we're going to put all of your links so that folks can keep up with your journey. What are a few financial tips to just get people into the practice of you know, saving and you know, wealth building? What does that look like for you? What would you tell folks?
You got to read, you know, you got to study money. You got to study, like, I remember I heard, what's my man, Grant Cardone said he studied all the wealthy families and what they did. But I just studied, like, I studied, because I feel like, all right, I have Bitcoin, so this is the greatest asset. But I need to learn how to make that work still within the confines of life. So I started learning about, like, you know, just proper ways of managing money. And I just started reading books on money because, you know, you have, like, coming from our community, we don't know, we have money wounds. And if you don't heal them, you know, you'll never really understand why you think so limited when it comes to money. So just opening up that mindset and really, really investing in someone to teach you about money. You know, don't be afraid to be honest. You know, it doesn't matter if you're 33 years old. A lot of people who don't know shit about money and make a lot of money. You know, so you don't want to be in that category. And those are, there's like real life practices that you have to do. You got to be willing to do some deep work when it comes to money.
And, you know, we talked about not with earning more money, like that's not a financially sound and certainly not a financial wealth building strategy. Knowing that your money can make money. I mean, that's like the essence of investing. Okay, Justin, so you were in crypto since like 2016, but there was a crash in 2017. And we would love to know, like, how did you cope? Like, what were some of the mechanisms that you used to, you know, not just stay in the space? Because I'm sure psychologically it must have been like, whoa. But what did you do? Like, how did you deal with that?
So I did things kind of wrong. I was cool with the fact that it was going down. And at the same time, I did use some Bitcoin to like try to travel, or I started looking for ways to invest in myself because I felt like, damn, if I can't own Bitcoin, I said, if I can't make more money, then it's not gonna matter what Bitcoin is, you know, and I'm not gonna be able to hodl this long with the way I make money now. So I started investing in ways to try to, you know, figure out how I can earn more money, through a business. But then I still hodled though. I still held some Bitcoin. I did get kind of, you know, weary, like, damn, like this was my very first dip. Even though I had bought it $600 and it had gone down to like 3K, you know,
you were still up, but still,
yeah, I was still up, but it was just like, I had to come to grips with reality. Like, this isn't just go up forever.
Right.
You know, so you got to come, it'll be a reality shocker, you know, that like, oh, I thought we'd get rich overnight. It's like, nah, it's not like that. But for the advice I would do now, if we were to ever be blessed with a situation like that again, you have to go and just continuously buy Bitcoin. Don't get discouraged about the price. Don't get caught up with all the people who telling you, I told you you were wrong. you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That'll weigh down on you because they still don't know what the hell Bitcoin is. 97% of people don't know shit about Bitcoin. So even if that was to happen again, it'll just now be, now you will have people who are hurt. I'm losing my money. You didn't lose anything. You realize that even with some of the Bitcoin that I use, I realize you only lose it if you don't have it. As long as you have Bitcoin, you will be just fine. And the fact that I bought Bitcoin and then a year later, there was a major dip. That was just the nature of Bitcoin at the time, man. So I really learned that it's not what everybody is saying it is, but it is real. And you have to just continuously, put yourself in the situations to win. And don't be afraid of the bull run. Don't be afraid of the bear. Stay right in there. Stay in that moment because that's where the growth will happen.
Justin's like, I'm Bitcoin long. Okay, so now that we got that covered, what are some of the resources, right, to help people stay abreast of what's going on in Bitcoin and what new communities there are for them to be aligned to, people that they should also follow and keep up with their journey? Like, what resources to keep people abreast of what's going on would you recommend?
So again, of course, we got, Black Bitcoin Billionaires from Clubhouse. Be always honest with you, I don't even look at a lot of news on Bitcoin. Okay. One of the best places I would say is the Gentleman of Crypto with Isaiah Jackson and King Bless. Any room in Bitcoin.
YouTube show for those of you that are like.
Yeah, YouTube show. I really don't look at the news articles because half of them are just FUD based. So one thing I would say is
fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Justin is like, stay away from fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And who better to tell you that than someone who just got into Bitcoin, the market crashes, and he has the mental resilience to say, I'm gonna stay where I'm at, and I'm gonna continue to increase my position. That's how much he believed in Bitcoin, and why in teaching about the rationale and investing in Bitcoin, like that's why you're now releasing your book. You've got your course, Justin. So you've got a lot of value adds that you're bringing to the community to help people like you build that resilience.
Right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Justin, one thing before we wrap up, we need to know Bitcoin Vegan. Can you just like quickly tell people what the origin of that name is? Like, where did it come from?
So it came from a point in time when I used to sell vegan food. I used to this little business called Vegan on the Go, and one day when Zay was telling me about Bitcoin, I'm like, can I accept it for my business? He said, yeah, and I just accepted it. I didn't really have no real thought out way of doing it. Isaiah was the only person.
QR code that led to people being able to use Bitcoin to buy your food.
Yeah, I just put it on my flyer. And Zay was the only person to buy it with Bitcoin, so that's cool. But, so that's where that came from. And I just started bridging the gap, and I started noticing that, it was those two ways of life were very volatile, very opposite. And I knew it'll bring people together. So no one in the world was using it when I coined the phrase. So I just said, let's throw it together. And, over time, a lot of people would say, oh, well, that's not marketably, that doesn't market well, it doesn't go together. But then people would say, man, I can't get the name out of my head. It just makes so much sense. So, screw what the market says and just do what makes sense to the human brain. Nobody could get the name out their mind. Bitcoin Vegan talked about, just living. It's basically a life about freedom. And they're both outside the normal ways of doing things. So,
well, thank you for giving us that background, and kudos to you for integrating and appreciating asset into your business, because that's something that I don't know how many people are thinking along those lines, but imagine getting paid in a currency that increases 100x over a few years, which is quite genius, and a testament, Justin, to how innovative you are and how much of a future-based thinker you are. So thank you for sharing your time and your genius with us. I tip my hat off to you. The bars to Bitcoin, experience is one in which I can't wait to share with the world, because it's such a powerful story of taking ownership and accountability of your life. And you have a daughter, and that is a part of your legacy. And, you know, for her to see how you've been able to transform your life, and as a result of transforming your life with Bitcoin, providing access for other people to do the same it's just incredible. And I am so proud of you. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to learn about your story. We're excited for your book. We'll continue to follow your journey across all social channels. We're going to pull up to Clubhouse to join a conversation, get involved in the community more so. And we wish you continued success and blessings.
Yeah, come in there, man. Come in there, Lisa. You'll find everybody will find their tribe, and you'll start noticing like, damn, everybody will have their lane, you know, and people will be able to grow, and it's lit. So you're already an honorary member. Just come up on in there and bring Nina with you. You know what I mean? So y'all do.
That's who's gonna pull up hard body. You know how we do. Yeah. We thank you for helping us ensure that the Crypto Tutors community as well is able to transform knowledge into wealth, given the insights that folks like you share. Keep doing what you're doing. We will welcome you back after you drop your book, and I'm sure you'll have a series and so on. But we are excited to celebrate and elevate your story, your journey, the work that you're doing. Keep rocking and rolling, and that's a wrap.
All right, thank you.
Want to learn more? Visit cryptotutors.com. This episode is sponsored by Cashapp.